What are you drowning for? I fed you a penguin.
Ma-re-a-one.
I want the world to perish, remember?
How about you stop being such a little bitch?
Sonic Adventure 2 was a historic game in the series. This game dared to ask, what if we turned Sonic into emo Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3?
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn fourth Chaos Emerald.
And what if we gave this bat some huge knockers?
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
For many, this was their first introduction to the Sonic series, as it was the first time the Blue Hedgehog would step foot on a Nintendo console. The rivalry between Sonic and Mario was pretty intense back in the 90s. I liked both characters, but my family had already pledged their loyalty and firstborn child to Nintendo, so my experience playing Sonic games was always secondhand. If I wanted some of that fast-paced Sonic action, I'd have to go visit my friend Justin, who had a Sega Genesis. But then his parents got divorced, and I never saw him again. It was really sad that his parents couldn't work things out, but let's not forget who the real victim was here. Due to Justin's stupid parents refusing to be in love anymore, it'd be years before I got another chance to play a game starring my beloved Blue Rat. When Sonic Adventure 2 got ported to the GameCube in December 2001 as Adventure 2 Battle, well, let's just say it was a pretty sweet Christmas for me. It was the first Sonic game of my very own, except weirdly for Tales of Sky Patrol years earlier, when my parents got me a Sega Game Gear, thinking that it was a Game Boy Color. I still don't know how they got that so wrong.
Bruh.
I never had a Dreamcast, so I missed out on the first Sonic adventure, and I remember pining after that game like so much black guy behind tree meme. Seeing gameplay of Sonic running away from the killer whale on display TVs at game stores got me absolutely pumped. So to finally get my hands on the sequel, it was like joining a club or something that I'd always wanted to join. A secret Sonic sorority, and I didn't even need to kiss a goat or kill a man to belong. Those were just perks. I'm in my 30s now, and I'm trying to look at this game as objectively as possible, and not through the rose-tinted lenses of a 12-year-old boy who would gladly overlook things like glaring plot holes and choppy graphics because he was too busy wondering if being attracted to a bat was a sin. Surely Father Donovan wouldn't recommend sending me off to one of those prayer camps if only he could see what sort of assets this bat was working with, you know? All this to say, I thought Sonic Adventure 2 was the bee's knees, and I've kept those fond memories in my heart for the last 22 years, and no amount of objective adult analysis or electroshock therapy from Father Donovan could change that. I do recognize the game has its flaws, and there's a lot of them. But one thing to consider is that this game came out at just the right place at just the right time to leave just the right impression. If you were a 12-year-old in the year 2001, this game was incredible, and you just had to be there to fully appreciate it. So in this video, I'm going to be weighing my biased nostalgia against my supposedly functional 36-year-old brain. The sort of adult brain that notices things like how cheap the enemy placement is,
You smug motherfucker.
or how freaking ugly the human character models were. I don't want to bully a little girl, but damn, is her family tree a wreath or what?
Oh my god!
Anyways, let's dive in.
No, this isn't happening. There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
Don't get too comfortable. This is a dangerous situation.
I thought the car was supposed to move us. Wouldn't that be nice?
Can it? Ready, steady, ready, steady, ready, steady.
Mega Man, can you hear me?
This is Snake. Kept you waiting, huh? Are you familiar with Big Chunk?
A scattered dream is like a far-off memory.
Gotta give it my all. Hope you're ready. We can't save the world from a CD player.
Greetings, fools. It is I, Dr. Ivo Robotnik, here with a most urgent warning. The video you are about to watch contains spoilers for Sonic Adventure 2. So viewer beware. You are watching this at your own peril. So don't go complaining in the comments section that we spoiled a 20-plus-year-old game, you bunch of babies. This video may also contain a fair amount of potty language, like shit, or ass, or even fuck. Does it surprise you to hear the illuminous Dr. Robotnik speak with such vulgarities? Well, I blew up the moon, and I'm allowed to say fuck every once in a while. I'm not a good man. And while we're airing grievances, stop calling me Eggman. Call me a madman or a fascist or a sexy egg all you want, but body shaming is not cool. And now shut up and behold your feature presentation.
After the success of the first Sonic adventure, Sonic Team immediately got to work on a sequel, but things weren't exactly pretty at Sega. The release of the N64 and Sony PlayStation led to Sega's market share dropping significantly. To make matters worse, they were selling the Dreamcast for far too little, so despite it being a popular system, they were losing more money than they were making. There were a ton of other factors as well, like the fact that a good chunk of Sega's business was invested in arcade machines, which by the 2000s was starting to majorly go out of style. So, less than 2 years after the Dreamcast was released, Sega announced they were going to discontinue it. As you could imagine, that really sucked for Sonic Team, who were already a year or so into development of Sonic Adventure 2. Sega had no choice but to downsize them like crazy, cutting them down from a 100+ member department down to about a dozen people. Imagine if like 90% of your coworkers got laid off and all of their work got dumped on your shoulders. Jeez Louise. On top of all that, this game was originally going to be a giant celebration of Sonic's 10th anniversary. Happy freaking birthday, Sonic. Now, with this knowledge, it's really not surprising how glitchy and rushed the game feels in certain areas, which we'll get to. But also, with all that being said, it's amazing that Sonic Team was able to put out anything decent at all, much less something as cool and iconic as this game ended up being. Sonic Adventure 2 was originally pretty well received, and within a couple months of the game's launch, the developers ported it onto the GameCube as Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. This was history in the making here, folks, and it very well may have been what saved Sonic as a character. Like I mentioned in the video's intro, there were Sega families and there were Nintendo families, and by bringing Sonic over to Nintendo, his popularity continued to build in newer generations. Sega sending Sonic off to Nintendo before financially collapsing was basically like Superman's parents sending him to Earth before Krypton was destroyed. Krypton is the Dreamcast in this analogy, try to keep up. Battle was also well received and remained one of the top-selling GameCube titles of all time. And without this port, we wouldn't have had Sonic and Mario at the Olympic Games, which pretty much officially marked the end of their decade-old feud. And also, we finally got to see Mario's nipples for the first time.
Oh no!
Sonic Adventure 2 begins with one of the most iconic set pieces in the series history. Sonic is being held captive in a helicopter belonging to the paramilitary group Guardians of Nations.
G-U-N, seriously?
Gun, yeah.
He jumps out, says, Talk about low-budget flights,
no food or movies, I'm outta here.
He then rips off a piece of the helicopter with his apparently superhuman strength and uses it as a snowboard as he skydives away. Everything about the scene is so freaking over the top and dripping with that 90s sass that makes Sonic so iconic. This leads into the first level, City Escape, which is based off of San Francisco, which incidentally is where Sonic Team USA made this game, and it's easily the best stage. So, you know, it's only downhill from here. Sonic rides that piece of metal like a snowboard, and every time he bumps into a car, it goes flying into the air, completely defying the laws of physics. You really need to go out of your way to not murder civilians here, because Sonic just Hulk smashes through traffic like it's nothing. Sonic's gameplay is pretty similar to how it was in Sonic Adventure. I should mention that I only ever played Adventure 1 long after I played 2, so to keep things simple, I'm gonna only judge SA2 based on its own merits and not really spend a lot of time comparing it to its predecessor. But if you've played Adventure 1, it's pretty similar. You could run around, do the homing attack, you could do the spin dash that is almost never useful, but it looks super cool.
Bingo!
Sonic's levels are the highlight of the game, and it seems pretty obvious from the early trailers of the game that only featured Sonic and a few others, that more of the game was going to feature him before they decided to dilute the formula with extra characters so they could have like a 3 against 3 sort of thing. I feel like this was majorly to the game's detriment, but I'll talk about that more later. SA2 also introduced rail grinding to capitalize on how popular skateboarding was at the time, and Sega even made a deal with Soap, a skating shoe company, where in exchange for ads everywhere in City Escape, Sega would get to give Sonic his very own pair of sick-ass rail grinding kicks. Soap doesn't exist anymore, but this whole thing was such a time capsule, you know? Like, imagine if in the next Sonic game, everyone starts doing the cat's eye dance from that Gap commercial, and Sonic's trading his chili dogs for Pokeballs.
Yeah.
The level ends with an escape from an unfathomably large gun truck.
Surprise, motherfucker!
That somehow seems to care even less about collateral damage than Sonic does. Sonic Adventure 2 introduced a grading system at the end of the levels that would become a trend for other games in the series. You get judged for your performance with an A through E rank, and no matter how good you thought you did, this game will insist otherwise.
Shoot.
Technically, the rating system was introduced in Sonic Pocket Adventure, a game on the Neo Geo, because I know there will be at least one person calling me out on that. Fucking nerds. As terrific as the first level is, this is where the game starts to show its cracks. After defeating a gun mech that serves as the first boss of the game, Sonic meets Shadow the Hedgehog. More like Shadow the Edgehog, am I right? Fun fact, Shadow is based on the Marvel character Spawn to appeal to Americans and their love of anti-heroes. Later, for Shadow's solo game, they'd give him a gun so that Americans would really love him. Sonic sees that Shadow has stolen the prized Chaos Emerald, and puts the pieces together that the government must be confusing Sonic for Shadow. Which is a little like confusing Matchbox 20 for My Chemical Romance, but maybe humans just have cross-hedgehog blindness, you know? Like, they all look the same to them? I mean, would you be able to tell two penguins apart? No. Shadow vanishes using the power of the Chaos Emerald, and Sonic gets captured once again by the Popo. The scene isn't terrible, but there's a few lines that get smooshed together, which is a reoccurring theme throughout. The sound mixing in this game is downright awful, and this is what I meant when I said that the game begins to break apart here. For every really good thing that Sonic Adventure 2 does, it does something else equally awful. The best example of this is how good the music is, but how bad the sound mixing is. What? I'll talk about all of that in a minute, but first, we need to segue over to this video's sponsor. Are you roaming around at the speed of sound? Do you have places to go? Do you need to follow your rainbow? Well, knock it off and buy some things at Metro Japan instead. Metro Japan has all the coolest merch from your favorite Japanese properties, like Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, Dragon Ball Z, and more. But because you're watching this video, you probably want to hear more about Sonic. Well, they've got Sonic in Lego form, they've got Sonic in manga form, they've got wearable Sonic, stickable Sonic, rare collector's edition Sonic, and best of all, Shadow the Hedgehog as a rubber ducky. Chaos Quack Troll! So check out Metro Japan now using the link in the description, and make sure to use this code for a discount on your order. Thanks Metro Japan for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it.
I'm Sonic, Sonic the Hedgehog. I just escaped federal custody, no problem. Sure, I had to take the lives of 5 men, but it was in self-defense. I guess I didn't need to kill the helicopter pilot too, but when you get that bloodlust, it's hard to slow down. And if there's one thing that I never do, it's slow down. Not in the bedroom, and not while killing my enemies. I smell bacon. Those pigs must be catching up, so I better get going. Remember kids, don't talk to the police. They're not your friends. Well, I'm off to go eat chili dogs and break into a military base. Later!
Okay, back to the music. The game's soundtrack was composed by Jun Senoue, lead guitarist in the band Crush 40. Senoue got his start with Sega by composing a few tracks for Sonic 3, and made his big break by composing the first adventure game soundtrack. The Sonic Adventure soundtrack is probably my favorite or second favorite in the series. It ranges from surfer rock to pop, with a little bit of punk and lo-fi thrown in there for good measure. It's the definitive late 90s soundtrack, and it basically made Senoue an icon at Sega, and they've hired him on for several Sonic games since. The Adventure 2 soundtrack is just as good as the first game. The main theme, Live and Learn, is such a banger, and I was so glad when they used it in the Sonic 3 movie. Escape from the City is also a great track and a great way to start off the game. Ted Poley from the band Danger Danger does vocals for the song. The lyrics are definitely cheesy, but no matter how cool you think you are, you're not too good to sing along to this. It's catchy as hell, and that's a scientific fact. Each character in the game has their own musical motif. Sonic is rock and roll, Knuckles is rap/hip-hop, Dr. Eggman is industrial metal, Rouge is jazz, Shadow is trap, etc., etc. This really gave each song on the soundtrack a unique identity of its own. My favorite are Knuckles' stages. The rap lyrics are basically just his internal monologue, so in Pumpkin Hill, Knuckles is rapping about being afraid of ghosts and that there's a lot of pumpkins everywhere. And in Wild Canyon, he's rapping about how he wants to bang Rouge.
Yeah, Rouge, she's sexy and smooth. A double cross my thief, that's out for my juice.
It's a good time. What's this game rated again? Now, as good as the soundtrack is, the sound design is another story. Most of the voice actors seem like good choices and they fit their respective characters. Ryan Drummond, in my opinion, is the best actor to ever voice Sonic.
I'll show them some mad skills. Just give me 3 minutes to bring it on.
Dean Burstow voices Eggman, and this is also my favorite Eggman voice actor.
Now begins the glorious era of the Empire of Eggman.
He strikes a really good balance between menacing and over the top. The actors for Amy and Knuckles are pretty good too, so overall, the casting is great. The delivery, on the other hand...
Oh no! Don't touch that lever!
And I don't blame the voice actors here. Sonic Team clearly made the animations for Japanese voiceovers, and rather than retiming them for English, they simply told the VAs to fill the gaps. So that led to a lot of clunky delivery, long pauses, and some lines that even overlap each other because they didn't want to just retime the animations like they should have. Bad voiceovers I could get over. I think they add a lot of dumb charm. I expressed the same opinion in my Grandia retrospective. Go watch that, by the way.
No, Mullen. It's not too late. We were all wrong. And Lee knew that we would realize this.
The voice acting in that game was also really bad, but in a fun way. The real problem is that in Adventure 2, the music is way too loud, and the mixing for the voiceovers is way too low. So a good chunk of the cutscenes are completely incoherent.
What are you, anyway?
What?
What you see is what you get. Just a
What?
guy that loves adventure. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog!
I can't hear you! This would have been an easy fix in post, but it just highlights the game's biggest issue. The Sonic team was clearly understaffed and overburdened, and stuff like this was the result.
This time, I'll take your lives as well as the chaos.
Seriously, I can't hear anything you're saying. After Sonic is racially profiled and falsely arrested, the story abruptly cuts to Knuckles the Enchilada, who is in desert area. Like just any desert area. Wouldn't want to get too specific here. Knuckles is facing off against a jewel thief named Rouge. Rouge is a bat with jiggle physics who dresses like a dominatrix. And before you say I'm viewing things through a perverted lens, this is an unlockable outfit for her. So this shit is canon. There's actually a mod to adjust the jiggle physics, and this is just... this is just a lot of fun to watch.
Perfection.
Both parties are after the Master Emerald, and for those not keeping up with the Sonic lore, it's not the same thing as the Chaos Emeralds. Those give Sonic the power to turn into Super Saiyan Goku 2, and the Master Emerald has the power to do nothing interesting at all. Suddenly, Eggman shows up to steal it.
What the?
What?
Look who's calling who a thief.
Knuckles quickly shatters the emerald so that Eggman can't fly off with it, and thus begins Knuckles' arc, finding all the Master Emerald shards so that he could reassemble it. It also really looks like he snaps Eggman's neck here.
What have you done? You changed the future. You've created a time paradox.
So, hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. This scene is really indicative of the writing throughout the game, for better or worse. The characterization of Knuckles, Rouge, and Eggman are fleshed out pretty well, which is especially impressive considering the scene is less than 2 minutes long. Rouge is shown to be an entitled femme fatale archetype obsessed with jewels. Eggman is his usual commandeering, comical villain self, and Knuckles is a brash hothead who has some strong opinions about bats. I mean, he called her Batgirl with a hard B.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Batgirl.
This dude needs to do some soul searching, you know?
I'm not doing too good.
Yeah.
Said some pretty nasty things, a lot of trash talk, and
Stop laughing, it's not funny.
Knuckles' gameplay is pretty similar to how it was in Adventure 1, and for those not familiar, Knuckles' levels involve finding 3 pieces of the Master Emerald. It's a scavenger hunt, and helping you out is a radar that turns green when you're nearby, yellow when you're closer, and red when you're right next to it. Honestly, for the most part, these levels are pretty fun and decently challenging. Each shard has a few different spots they could be, and it's randomly shuffled around so you can't just memorize the location on a second playthrough. The problem here is that the shard locations can vary wildly between a fair hiding space to a completely obtuse spot that there's no way you would ever think to look. This is especially the case in his later levels, like Meteor Herd, a map that is way too big for its own good, and it makes the treasure hunting more tedious than anything. But honestly, these problems all pale in comparison to Tails' gameplay, which we'll get to later. Sonic Adventure 2 sits in a weird place because, while it doesn't look very good by today's standards, it was, at the time, the best looking Sonic game by far. Adventure 1 had the honor of being the first truly 3D Sonic game, if you don't count Sonic Jam, which was a compilation of the first 4 Sonic games with a hub world you could run around in with a 3D Sonic. But that was just a fun feature and not really gameplay. Then there's Sonic R and Sonic Fighters, which were in 3D, but were spin-offs, so they don't really count. So, Sonic Adventure was the first mainline 3D game, and honestly, it shows. Especially the human characters. Holy 10 polygons, Batman. Compared to this, Adventure 2 actually looks significantly better, but it's still stuck in this early 3D hell period in the late 90s where they hadn't quite figured things out yet, and non-mascot characters fell hard into Uncanny Valley. It's probably why you barely see any humans in this game, and that's probably for the best.
No, God!
Design-wise, I think the stages in this game shine the brightest. There's a ton of unique and interesting locations to explore, and the size and layout works well to accommodate high speed, without just being giant empty rooms. There are a few exceptions to this, like the highway chase levels. Both Tails and Rouge have their own levels where they have to drive a car across a highway, and its gameplay is unique to just those specific levels. These majorly feel like last-second inclusions that weren't finished properly. It's just a long stretch of road with no obstacles or enemies, and it feels majorly out of place. Apropos of nothing, Rouge's car looks like a giant dick and balls, so that brought me some joy at least. For the most part though, the world of Sonic Adventure 2 is fleshed out pretty well. As opposed to the first game that had you exploring a world hub area between stages, Adventure 2 has you choosing levels from a menu, much like most of the other Sonic games. I do miss the weirdness and mystery of exploring areas between stages, but honestly, it's better without it. Sonic is supposed to be a fast-paced game, and solving puzzles where you have to toss a Burger Man into the sewer just ain't it. The thing that always gets me about this game is that they clearly tried using motion capture for the characters during cutscenes, and for a game released in 2001, that was incredibly ambitious. The problem is that it doesn't seem like they accounted for how a human's physical behavior would translate to small, anthropomorphic animals with weird head and body proportions. So you have these scenes where characters are just waving their hands about for no discernible reason, or their arms are clipping through their face. It's kind of a mess. A hilarious mess, but a mess.
I'm Knuckles the Echidna, but you can call me Knuckles. My sworn duty is to protect the Master Emerald with my life, but it was almost stolen by Dr. Eggman. He used some hot piece of ass to distract me while he flew off with the emerald. But I shattered the emerald before he could make off with it. No, I wasn't trying to snap his neck. I'm not a murderer. I have a little more restraint than Sonic. It was just an accident, okay? I'm sure Eggman will make a full recovery. And what does this West guy mean that I called Rouge Batgirl with a hard beat? What does he imply? I don't have anything against bats, okay? My grandmother was a bat. Some of my best friends are bats. I dated a bat in college. I actually like bats more than echidnas, I think. And by the way, if the hospital can't resuscitate Eggman, well, that's not my fault. It was Castle Doctrine, you know. He came into my house with malicious intent. I did what I had to. You're not a cop, are you? Forget I said anything. I really need to not say anything without my lawyer present.
There's one thing I should mention before moving forward, and that's that this game features a light route and a dark route. You could choose either, and it doesn't technically matter which one you play first, although I think the game kind of nudges you towards playing the light side first. When you beat either route, you get this weird teaser trailer for the other route, and I swear, it looks like it was made by whoever directed those Kingdom Hearts secret endings.
The ultimate life form.
Chaos
Vengeance.
control.
Space
Desperation.
Supersonic.
Collision.
Untamed power. Maria. Chaos Emerald.
Professor Gerald
Mickey Mouse.
truth about 50 years ago.
Everything.
Sonic Adventure 2. Last episode. Wishes are eternal.
A lot of the story beats from both sides overlap, specifically for scenes where the good and bad characters are interacting with each other. So, for brevity's sake, I'm gonna merge narratives from both stories together in a way that I think will make the most sense. So, for now, we're gonna switch over to Eggman's storyline, and you will all just have to deal with it. Eggman's first stage has him breaking into a military base to find information about a secret research project his grandfather was working on. We know this because he says all of this verbatim.
Let's take a look at what my grandfather was working on. A top secret military weapon. The military shut down the research because they feared it.
That's oddly expositional, but okay. I love these clips of actual explosions they overlaid here instead of just taking the time to animate anything.
So this is the military's top secret weapon. It's a lot smaller than I expected. Enter user data. Enter password. Password is Maria. Maria. That's not it. How's this then? Maria 1. Impossible. Maria 1! Exclamation mark.
You didn't say the magic word.
Curse it all! In the name of Pingus, I blocked out!
After a few more tries, Eggman gets into the computer and uses it to wake up Shadow, who's been in a cryogenic sleep.
My name is Shadow.
This, of course, is the same Shadow we'd later see Sonic confronting after his first stage. Eggman questions how a hedgehog could possibly be a top-secret government weapon, and Shadow tells him to meet him on the space colony Ark if he wants answers.
So, where do you think you're going with that emerald? Say something, you fake hedgehog!
Chaos control!
I'm going to use the chaos control. 1 second.
Okay.
Just 1 second. Doesn't usually take this long.
It just seems like it's taken a really long time.
I can do it, just give me a minute. I wasn't really in chaos control mood before. It takes a while to get there.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Don't patronize me. I can do this. Maybe if I think about Maria.
What'd you say?
Nothing. Shut up.
We'll have to come back to this. Shadow's first level is Radical Highway, and it has him escaping gun agents after stealing a Chaos Emerald from a bank. If it wasn't clear by now, a good chunk of the story is just find all the Chaos Emerald MacGuffins and take them to space. Shadow's first level is easily his best, though I don't think it's as good as City Escape, it's still enjoyable. Unfortunately, with the Dark Side story especially, each level in this game has diminished returns. We do get a small glimpse into Shadow's past, and it'll pretty much be his only motivation for the remainder of the game. On the space colony Ark, Shadow is escaping gun agents with a girl named Maria. She's presumably shot, and she ejects him to safety.
Oh, how do you solve a problem like Maria?
He's later captured by Gun and put into a sleep for 50 years. He's vowed revenge on humanity ever since. Meanwhile, Eggman goes back home to his secret base in the middle of an Egyptian pyramid.
Those idiots will never find my hidden base inside this pyramid.
Well, time to fight my way inside my hidden base that's swarming with military agents. I just love that Eggman has to go through all of this every time he wants to go home. Imagine him getting inside and being like, "Damn, I left my chapstick in the car!" Eggman, conveniently, has a teleporter inside his lab that takes him to the space colony Ark. Shadow is there too, and it's never explained how he got up there, but don't think too hard about it. Shadow explains to Eggman that the space colony secretly housed WMDs. You know what that means? Time for America to liberate the space colony and take all that sweet oil. Yeehaw!
America, fuck yeah! Coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah!
Among the WMDs is something called the Eclipse Cannon, a Death Star-esque super laser that could destroy a planet, and is powered by, you guessed it, Chaos Emeralds. Because it's always Chaos Emeralds. Shadow suggests Eggman use this cannon to dominate the world. This is when Rouge appears and offers to find the missing Chaos Emeralds for them. Thus, a dark alliance is formed. Eggman will get to rule the world, Shadow will get his revenge on humanity by watching them suffer under egg tyranny, and Rouge will get to collect jewels, which she won't get to keep, so that part doesn't make a lot of sense, but whatever. We have a semblance of a plot now.
There's no mistake about it. This must be the island. It's a secret military base that is reinforced and super strong. It's called Prison Island.
Wait, are you talking about the island for prison? The island especially chosen to imprison Sonic? Sonic's Island Prison. That prison island? Let's talk about miles, Tails per hour, which, dude, just have your name legally changed to Tails already. Nobody has ever called you Miles, even once in all of Sonicdom. Not once have I ever heard Sonic say, "Hey, fly me over this chasm, Miles." In the last game, he handled pretty similar to how he did in Sonic 2. He was a slower, less powerful Sonic, but he could fly short distances, which was awesome. In Adventure 2, for whatever reason, they confined him to a mech version of his plane, the Tornado, and made all of his stages arcade shooters. Now, I've mentioned earlier that I think only Sonic, Knuckles, Shadow, and Eggman were meant to be playable characters in the game, but then at some point Sonic Team thought, hey, why don't we have the heroes and villains match each other? And that suddenly created the need for Tails' gameplay to mirror Eggman's and Rouge's to mirror Knuckles. There's a lot of evidence that Tails was a last-second inclusion, namely that nothing he does in the game affects the story at all. Like, literally nothing he does matters at all in this game. Tails' first mission is to try and bust Sonic out of prison, but when he makes it to Sonic, it's Amy who busts him out.
Keep your voice down. Have no fear. Amy Rose is here!
Later, he chases after the president's motorcade, but it's Sonic that busts in, not Tails. And yes, we could add that to the list of the federal crimes that Sonic has committed in the last 24 hours. Tails' final battle is against Eggman, but it has no consequence on the story at all. I think the game was already done, and then they just retrofit Eggman's stages for Tails. Tails isn't real, man. He's not real. Anyways, as far as the mech gameplay goes, I'm not a fan. You basically have two attacks, one puny bullet that shoots out slowly, and a homing laser that locks onto nearby enemies and objects and fires a projectile once you release the shoot button. Not gonna lie, locking onto several enemies at once and seeing them all blow up is pretty satisfying, but there's absolutely no challenge in it. What makes the mech stuff truly unbearable though is the lock-on sound effect is this incredibly high-pitched sound that doesn't go away until you release. What sick bastard thought this would be a good idea?
Are you still trying to use chaos control?
Any second now.
Dude, I'm not even in the mood anymore.
Just hold on a second. I had a few drinks earlier, okay? It takes longer.
Look, Shadow, I've got other things to do.
No, wait! It's happening! Chaos control!
Was that it?
Time to take a nap. Farewell.
Yeah!
Rouge's gameplay is a lot like Knuckles, but sexier. After Rouge teams up with Eggman and Shadow, the Dark Team go to Prison Island to steal one of the Chaos Emeralds. This leads to a completely baffling stage for Rouge, where she has to break into this government facility and find the Chaos Emeralds all within 5 minutes, because in 5 minutes, Eggman is going to blow up the island. You know, so as to not alert anyone that they were there. The problem with this logic, besides everything, is that Eggman gives her 15 minutes, and Rouge says she only needs 5. So the problem is completely of her own making. And let me tell you something, 5 minutes is just barely enough time to find these emeralds. And that's if you're lucky. This stage is hard, and the time limit is kind of ridiculous. Sometimes the emeralds are locked in safes, which can only be unlocked in a secret room in the ceiling. Good luck figuring that out on your first try. It's all for naught anyways, because once you complete the mission, Rouge is sidetracked by a gun mech boss and gets herself locked inside the prison compound with Eggman's explosion timer still ticking away. Rouge, by the way, is a double agent working for the US government, and there's absolutely no reason why she shouldn't have a keycard or something to get out. But, plot holes aside, Rouge informs Shadow that she's trapped, and he has a crisis of conscience.
She reminds me of Maria. Both are girls. Both blink slowly. I have to rescue her.
Shadow decides to run towards the prison compound to rescue Rouge when he runs into Sonic along the way, who's just been broken out of prison by Tails and Amy. It's such an epic scene, which is completely ruined by the bad sound design.
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you, Faker.
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Ha! You're not even good enough
I'll
to
make
be
you eat
my
those
fake.
words.
Dude, Sonic, let him finish his line. He was saying something cool. Like most boss fights in Sonic Adventure 2, this one's so easy a baby could beat it. And I mean that literally, because there's a glitch where if you don't move at all, Sonic will just defeat himself. Afterwards, Sonic and Shadow go their separate ways. Sonic flies off the island with Tails, and Shadow gets to Rouge just in time to teleport her away to safety. I feel like we're forgetting someone.
Sonic, wait for me!
Thanks for making it this far in the video. Hey, did you know that you could help me make more videos like this? Liking this video or leaving a comment really helps boost me in the algorithm, which leads to my channel being more successful. So if you want to be a cool dude like Sonic the Hedgehog, hit the like button and leave a comment. Unless of course you're not a cool dude like freaking Chris Thorndike. Chris Thorndike clicks out of videos without watching them all the way through, which lowers my engagement rate. Don't be a Chris Thorndike.
Chris!
If you like this channel and want to help further, consider being a member of my Patreon, patreon.com/westdoesgames. Patrons get early access to videos as well as ad-free longer versions of my videos called Supers. There's a super for this video too, so that's the optimal way to watch. So if you're tired of getting erectile dysfunction ads in the middle of my videos, watch the Patreon versions instead. What do you mean ads are curated to your individual search history? I'm gonna have to get a fact check on that. Patreon.com/westdoesgames.
I'm Amy Rose. I'm cute and full of energy. That's Sonic. He's so ungrateful sometimes. Who else do you know that would break into a military prison and commit dozens of felonies just to help him out? I told him I'd let him out of his cell if he married me. He said no, and then I just let him out anyway. Stupid Amy! Why did you think you needed to negotiate? You had all the power in that situation. He was locked up. You had the key. You had him by the balls! You could have let him rot in that cell, but no, you just let him out. Ugh! Why don't I ever think things through? So I broke him out of prison, and how does he repay me? He leaves me to die on an island that's about to explode! What a jerk! I'll just have to come up with a new plan. I know! I'll tell everyone he got me pregnant! Then he'll have to marry me! It didn't work the last time I tried it, but third time's a charm!
Oh, Sonic! I thought I'd never see you again! I'm so glad you made it! You're not Sonic! Who are you?
I clearly saw you weren't Sonic when I hugged you from behind, but now that you've turned around, I could definitely tell you're not Sonic. Amy Rose weirdly isn't playable in this game, despite the fact that she's included in the story and she was playable in Adventure 1. I always thought her inclusion here felt weird and out of place, like maybe she was playable originally, and then they decided against it, but she's still just there.
Hey, where are you going?
Move aside, Knuckles!
Move aside, Knuckles, I want to get in that sewer. I actually watched Sonic X for the first time with my son recently, and literally the first 5 episodes are just Knuckles and Amy wandering around a sewer. So, I guess this is canon. Amy is playable in multiplayer, so that's something, I guess, but her inclusion at all still feels hollow. I think we could probably pin it on budget cuts. Adventure 1 was definitely the more ambitious game, with its 6 story modes and all. E102 Gamma's gameplay was more or less absorbed into Tails and Eggman's gameplay, Sonic and Knuckles stayed the same, and Amy and Big's gameplay wasn't included at all. I guess the backlash against Big was so great they decided to forget he existed. Some developer apparently didn't take this poor reception well because he secretly inserted Big throughout Adventure 2 as hidden cameos. And this dude is in some weird-ass places. Big, where have you been?
俺はずっとここにいたんだ。青き晴れにず、静かに待ち、動機を刻み、不活の民に備えてきた。そして今こそ、復讐の時だ。
With the power of, not all, but I guess enough of the Chaos Emeralds, Eggman decides he's going to demonstrate the power of the Eclipse Cannon to the world. He hijacks all the TVs in the world, somehow, to transmit a message.
My name is Dr. Eggman, the world's greatest scientist, and soon to be the world's greatest ruler.
The funny detail here is that in Eggman's video he says, I am genius, I am great, I am brilliant, I am smart, I am wise.
With tears in their eyes, they come to me saying, Mr. Eggman, you're so great, you're brilliant, please don't blow up the moon, sir.
I'm no scientist, but I'm pretty sure you can't just blow out a chunk of the moon and everything's fine. What's also really weird here is that he doesn't actually make any demands. He just says, I'm your ruler now, blows up the moon, and then starts a timer without saying what happens next. What his demands are, or how to contact him. Like, what exactly is he expecting here? Apparently Tails has the last Chaos Emerald, so Team Dark goes looking for him. Unbeknownst to them, Sonic and friends are looking for them to get those other emeralds back and stop their plan to use the Eclipse Cannon again. Anyways, Knuckles pops up like, yo, what up guys, I just be hanging out in the sewers, you know how I be. Tails says that he's found transcripts of a call between the POTUS and Eggman, and if they could track down the president, they could track down Eggman. It's very sloppy exposition and doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, if you could track the fact that they had a call, can you not also track Eggman's location from that data? But whatever. It's clearly just an excuse for Tails to live out his Lee Harvey Oswald fantasy. This leads to that weird highway chase level I mentioned earlier.
Spare me the details. Exactly just what is it that you want? Dr. Eggman.
The dialogue in this game never makes any gosh dang sense. Spare me the details, but please proceed to give me the details. And pay no attention to the fact that my head looks like a banana. Eggman proceeds to give an actual ultimatum, finally, telling the POTUS that unless he surrenders America to him, he'll blow the whole thing up. That's when Sonic jumps in through the moonroof, which seems like a huge security breach. I mean, does the president not have his own motorcade? Where's the snipers on the rooftops? Where's his guards? What kind of Donald Trump Secret Service amateur hour bullshit is this? There really isn't a better place in the script to add this, so pardon the side tangent, but in the settings of the game, you could change the menu theme. All the main characters have their own theme with voiceovers, which is pretty cool.
Listen to music if you want. Customize.
Listen to various sounds in the game. You can choose you can change various items on your menu screen.
But for some reason, they gave the president's assistant her own theme. This nameless character has one voice line in the game.
Our financial communities are impacted, and our satellite communications are down.
Who asked for this? Anyways, Tails is then able to track Eggman's location. Good thing the president had a freaking CD-ROM player in his limousine. With the info they need, Sonic and Tails make their escape in the tornado. Taking a step back, after completing Tails' highway mission, you can unlock the racing mode in 2-player. I haven't mentioned the multiplayer in this game yet, so let's take a little detour. In 2001, while everyone was playing GoldenEye multiplayer and Smash Bros. Melee, I was playing Sonic Adventure 2 Battles multiplayer, and I was the only one. And it made me realize just how alone I was in this world. Oh god, I'm having another existential crisis. Don't make it weird. Quick, just do a fart joke to compensate for your insecurity. While the original game also had multiplayer, Battle added new stages and changed a few small things. Besides the main lineup, you could also play as Amy, Metal Sonic, Tikal, and for some reason, a Chao riding around in a mech that looks like a bigger Chao. That'd be like Eggman riding in a mech that looked like a giant human's face. Weird choice. The multiplayer can pretty much be divvied up between the 3 gameplay styles. There's the Sonic and Shadow racing levels, the Tails and Eggman vehicular combat levels, and the Knuckles and Rouge treasure hunting levels. There's also kart racing to mirror the highway stages from the main game, and like the highway stages, they are bare bones and not fun at all. All things considered, this was a pretty expansive multiplayer mode, and for a Sonic game of all things. So, pretty cool.
My name is Miles per hour, but everyone calls me Tails. I ate a purple crayon this morning. It was yummy. Everyone thinks I'm a little slow. Sonic even signed me up for that dating show on Netflix. You know the one. But I think he did it as a joke. Sonic can have a mean sense of humor sometimes, but he's a good guy. Honest. When we were chasing after the president's limo, Sonic insisted I enter first. He must have known how excited I was to meet the president. It's a good thing the Secret Service members' guns all jammed at the same time. What are the odds? I've actually been talking to the president a lot since the other day. He says he wants to put me in charge of Central Intelligence. I told him I could also be in charge of the Air Force, and he said that was a great idea too. Well, I'm off to find Dr. Eggman's hidden base inside of an Egyptian pyramid. Hey, I didn't make this stuff up. Blame the writers.
After Sonic breaks into the president's limo, which, I mean, how many felonies are we at now? Let's count. Evading arrest. Reckless endangerment. Destruction of military craft. Breaking out of a military prison. Trespassing in a restricted area. And now, threatening the President of the United States. So, 6. 6 felonies so far. What proceeds next is a series of fetch quests to justify gameplay. Tails has to clear out the enemies surrounding Eggman's pyramid, Knuckles has to find a key to get in, Sonic has to find Eggman's lab in the innermost sanctum of the pyramid, Knuckles also has to fight a giant ghost, for some reason.
What the? A ghost?
I just love that Eggman's whole deal is being a scientist, but he's built his base into a haunted pyramid. Like, the existence of the supernatural just doesn't faze him or his research at all, I guess. Eventually, Sonic and friends run into Eggman, and we also get treated to this freaking sick Van Halen-sounding theme song for Robotnik.
You little thieves! Did you really think you get out of here alive?
Come and get some, Eggman!
Sonic!
Just leave it to me!
This time, I'll take your lives as well as the Chaos Emerald.
This song rocks so hard, and then Eggman immediately blows his cool guy cred. He summons a giant golem to attack his enemies. Sonic kicks it in the head one time, and that alone is enough to reprogram the golem and cause it to turn on its master. That is so embarrassing for him. If I worked really hard on a mechanical golem and it was that easy to break, I'd be mortified. I'd just pack it up there and go home and stay in bed for like a week. So embarrassing. Eggman is apparently so humiliated that he makes no further attempt to stop the Sonic team from stealing one of his NASA space rockets, which naturally he just has, and flying it to the space colony Ark. Meanwhile, on the Ark, Rouge asks Eggman to give her full control over the space colony's computer, and he just does it.
Tricking that old doctor is just too easy.
You didn't trick him, you just asked him for something and he gave it to you. I don't think Eggman is thinking straight. I think that whole golem thing has shaken his confidence in himself. He's probably back at the pyramid sprawled out like David Hasselhoff, trying to eat a cheeseburger, saying, "I am the Eggman." Tails goes on to explain that he created a fake Chaos Emerald, and that he could use that to neutralize the other emeralds. Okay, that's pretty convenient. A lot of questions there, but moving on. Meanwhile, out in space, Knuckles and Rouge are still competing with each other over control of the Master Emerald shards. Stop. Rewind that. Did you see what was wrong with the scene? I'll give you a hint. Let's play it one more time without visuals. Did you notice anything unusual? Yes. It sounds like they're having sex with each other. Alright, carry on.
Stop fooling around and give me back my emerald!
After Knuckles defeats her in battle, Rouge decides to give up her emerald shards. No, yeah, just throw the emerald shards onto this incredibly narrow ledge with lava underneath. That seems like a good idea. Knuckles somehow manages to piece the shards together and reassembles the Master Emerald, which is especially impressive considering he's got, like, no fingers and just giant padded gloves for hands, so he probably doesn't have the best dexterity. With the Emerald in tow, Knuckles heads back to the space colony. Why are you running? You have wings, just fly away. Something I, up till this point, have completely neglected to mention is the Chao Garden. This was first introduced in Adventure 1, but since I haven't made a video about Adventure 1, I'm gonna assume you don't know what a Chao Garden is. You don't know what a Chao Garden is! Chows are cute little mascot characters in the Sonic universe. They're adorable, and you could raise them like Tamagotchi pets. Throughout the various stages of Sonic Adventure 2, you'll find these weird little floating animals. I think they're supposed to be a callback to the older Genesis games, where Eggman had captured innocent little critters and put them into enemy robots, and Sonic rescues them. Well, in direct opposition to those games, where Sonic is saving the creatures, here, Sonic is feeding them to the Chows. Yep, the Chows eat these cute little animals alive, sucking up their souls in order to increase their stats, such as swim, fly, run, power, and stamina. All these stats are important if you want to be any good at Chow racing, or the less ethical Chow karate sponsored by Michael Vick. When you feed an animal to a Chow, it takes on the appearance of that animal, so you can make a stinking, eagle-faced, cheetah-pod, freaky little fucker. It's awesome. Sonic Advance, which came out around the same time, also had its own version of the Chao Garden, and Adventure 2 had this great feature where you could transport your Chow from the GameCube to the Game Boy Advance, and vice versa. You could also use this machine to say goodbye to your Chow. The Chow will have a happy life in a faraway forest. You will never see your Chow again! I don't know what's more soul-crushing, the "you will never see your Chow again" line, or this song that makes Gilbert O'Sullivan sound like Pharrell Williams. I get guilt-tripped real easily in video games, violent killing sprees in the Phantom Menace game notwithstanding.
Who are you gonna murder next, mister?
So the Chao Garden can be a real emotional minefield because it is real easy to accidentally kill these little bastards. What are you drowning for? I fed you a penguin. You should have been able to swim. You should have absorbed its swimming powers. But if you're able to keep them alive, raising them could be a really rewarding experience. Even Eggman can't resist the Chow's charm.
Yosh, yosh.
Yosh indeed, Eggman. Yosh indeed.
My name is Rouge the Bat, better known as the Treasure Hunter Rouge. What a wild ride this day has been. First I met a knuckle dragging echidna that shattered my prized emerald. Then I got myself trapped inside a locked vault. Then my search for jewels took me all the way to outer space. I love jewels, by the way. Jewels, jewels, jewels! I don't think this makes me a one-dimensional character. I mean, not any more than anyone else here. I mean, can you name 3 distinguishing characteristics about Tails that doesn't involve his plane, or his weird double butt? Didn't think so. In space, Knuckles practically declared his love for me. What a sweetheart. But I'm only interested in one thing, getting my hands on his jewels, and also the Master Emerald. Ha! See, I can be funny sometimes too. Can you say the same about that emo hedgehog? Again, didn't think so. Well, I gotta fly.
Back on the space colony, Sonic is about to put the fake emerald into the computer and crash the Eclipse cannon when he gets a distress call from Tails.
Tell Sonic to meet you back at the research facility.
Sorry! Amy is...
I didn't get that, Tails. What happened to Amy?
Rather than just putting the emerald in the computer and ending Eggman's nefarious plans right then and there, he instead takes the fake emerald back upstairs where Eggman, Tails, and Amy are. really nonsensical move on Sonic's part, but he makes up for it by looking like an absolute boss here. Look at this entrance, he is hardcore aura farming. Gotta give it one of those fancy CapCut filters.
Everybody shook when I hit him with the rapid flow. So sick with the bars, I think I'ma catch it cold. I can see my numbers going up on my Casio.
Anyways, Eggman demands Sonic hand over the emerald, and he's literally holding a freaking gun to Amy's head. Remember the days where Eggman just didn't give a fuck? Good times. Sonic hands over the fake emerald, but Eggman sees through the ruse. Eggman then traps Sonic in a capsule and jettisons him into space, where it explodes with more explosion footage B-roll that cracks me up every time I see it. Eggman then demands Tails hand over the real emerald, which prompts a boss fight, and it's like, why wasn't kicking Eggman's ass an option from the get-go? You know? Fun detail, if you get close to him, he'll punch you and shout, "Olé!" Like, why is he Spanish sometimes? Look at El Doctor Hombre Huevos over here. Fortunately for Sonic, he's still got the fake Chaos Emerald, and he uses it to use Shadow's move, Chaos Control, to teleport away to safety before the capsule explodes. Talk about beginner's luck. I mean, that just doesn't seem likely at all. But if we could excuse Luke Skywalker blowing up the Death Star on his first try, I think we could give Sonic a pass here.
I got it. Before the cannon fires, I'll slam dunk it in there!
You could have done that earlier! Meanwhile, at the Eclipse Cannon, Rouge exposits that she plans to make off with the Chaos Emeralds to keep for herself, because she just can't help but say her secret plans out loud.
It's my mission to find out what he's up to.
This is Rouge reporting. Currently, I have not been able to confirm if Shadow is the ultimate life form or not.
This is it. Research Project Shadow. The ultimate life form. I have 6 of them. They're mine. All mine.
I don't think so.
Shadow.
Now I know who you are. You're that government spy, Rouge the Bat, aren't you?
No, she's the other Rouge the Bat. The one who runs a gift shop selling driftwood art in coastal Rhode Island. That Rouge the Bat. Not the government spy one. Now, I'm gonna give this to you straight. The game is not clear at all which locations are which. Like, the control room, the Eclipse Cannon, the main area all seem interchangeable at times. Like, the area Shadow was just in is where they had previously inserted the Chaos Emeralds to control the cannon. It's where Sonic needs to be to insert the fake emerald, but now they're somewhere else. And after a certain point, I just gave up trying to make sense of this. So whatever, Sonic is just somewhere else. And Shadow has caught up with him for a final confrontation. I had the weirdest case of the Mandela effect replaying this boss fight because I specifically remembered the area having tunnels and not just being a long straight road. But then I eventually remembered what I was remembering was the Sonic Generations remake of this fight, which actually made the fight fun and interesting. In Adventure 2, it's kind of a joke. So after defeating either Shadow or Sonic, depending on which route you're playing, the end will be the same. Eggman tries to fire the Eclipse Cannon, but it won't launch. Instead, the entire space colony starts falling to Earth.
This space colony arc is currently approaching the Earth at an incredible velocity. It probably will impact Earth.
I love that she pauses and then she looks shocked about the words coming out of her own mouth. That's when we see Eggman's grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, in a pre-recorded message playing across every channel in the world. How convenient all these townspeople just happened to be in the same spot they were in the last time they witnessed a doomsday threat on TV. So what follows is a huge exposition dump. Gerald explains how he created Shadow to be the ultimate life form. He doesn't really explain why that matters, but more of that will get covered retroactively in the sequel, Shadow the Hedgehog, which, you know, leave a comment if you want me to do a Shadow video next. But then one day the military turned on Gerald, and in the chaos, shot and killed his granddaughter Maria. They shut down his lab, put Shadow into a cryogenic sleep, and arrested him. In prison, he went crazy and also somehow programmed the space colony Ark to crash into Earth if all 7 Chaos Emeralds were brought to it. How he was able to do this from prison is anyone's guess. So now, the space colony is going to crash into Earth, but Rouge gets the idea of neutralizing the Chaos Emeralds using the power of Knuckles' Master Emerald. Well met, Emerald MacGuffin, you finally have a point in the story. This leads to the final level, which can only be unlocked after beating both the light and dark stories. Canon's core is a race to get to the bottom of the space colony, and you'll get a chance to play as every character. I noticed this final level has a mostly purple color scheme, and that might represent the blue and red opposing colors joining together, but that's just my own conspiracy theory. Anyways, this level is a really cool way to bring things together, and it's a decent challenge. Meanwhile, Amy, who got left behind because this game clearly hates her, tries to talk some sense into Shadow.
Listen, Shadow, we need your help!
Everything's going according to plan. I want the world to perish, remember?
How about you stop being such a little bitch?
Excuse me?
Oh, boo-hoo! Your girlfriend died like 50 years ago.
She wasn't my girlfriend.
And now you want to blow up the Earth? What are you, stupid or something? Get a grip. There's plenty to live for. Remember when I hugged you earlier? You clearly liked it.
That was... well...
I haven't felt a man's touch in years. Why do you think I always carry this hammer around?
Wow.
So what do you say? Help us out, and I'll give you some of this sweet pink ass.
Oh my god.
Go help Sonic, and be quick about it.
Okay, I'll be right back.
What a rube.
I'm Shadow the Hedgehog, the world's only ultimate life form. Amy just promised me a booty call in exchange for helping that fake hedgehog and his moronic friends. You're probably thinking, why would I bother with Amy when I've got Pamela Patterson over here trying to grind on my rail? Well, you would think that because you're a pathetic human. Think about it. She's a different species than me. Would you want to have sex with a giraffe? No. Well, it's the same thing. And for some inexplicable reason, Amy seems to be the only female hedgehog in this universe. I've got to make it to the cannon's core and stop this cannon from exploding. And then go find Amy and do the exact opposite, if you know what I mean. Farewell!
When Sonic and friends get to the cannon's core, they run into Gerald's prototype for the ultimate life form, which for some reason takes the form of a giant mutant lizard that screams like a jaguar. Shadow catches up with the group and seemingly defeats it, while Knuckles neutralizes the Chaos Emeralds using the Master Emerald. Unfortunately, this giant lizard is dead set on going out on a blaze of glory, so he teleports into space and begins manually pulling the colony towards Earth. So, Knuckles and Rouge's whole story arcs were completely pointless. Oh well, that leaves only one choice. Turn into Super Sonic and Super Shadow. This is what it's all built up to, ladies and gentlemen. Sonic and Shadow teaming up, going super, fighting a giant lizard in space to the tune of the sickest freaking guitar licks you've ever heard. The boss fight might actually be the easiest one in the game, but it's still an epic conclusion to the gameplay, and it's immensely satisfying. Also, I love that the Bio-Lizard has the space colony just jammed up its ass. Like, he's got no hands, but he could pull this thing with the power of his lizard cheeks. With Gerald's final revenge diffused, Sonic and Shadow use the power of Chaos Control to teleport the space colony away from Earth. This ends up using too much of Shadow's power, however, and he falls to his death, content that he was able to forgive humanity, because that's what Maria would have wanted.
Maria, this is a promise I've made to you. Hey, wait, I just remembered that Amy promised me a booty call. I have to get back. No!
Sonic comes back on board the Ark, using the same entrance animation as before, by the way, and we proceed to get a little wrap-up with all the characters. Sonic contemplates how brave Shadow ended up being. Rouge implies that she wants to give up her treasure hunting in order to get into a relationship with Knuckles, and Eggman contemplates his lineage and if he's just as evil as his grandfather or not.
As a child, I looked up to my grandfather because of all the great things he accomplished in his life. He was my hero, and I wanted to be a great scientist like him. But did he really mean to destroy us?
I don't know, but what I do know is we all did it together!
Thanks, Tails. So glad we brought your dumb little ass along with us. Oh my god, Shadow was the moon this whole time! Well, that concludes the story of Sonic Adventure 2. I'm not the first to point out all the plot holes this game's story has, and I probably won't be the last. I won't spend too long complaining about it since the game did have a troubled development, and I don't fault anyone in particular, but it's still worth pointing out how janky the narrative is. Some issues include: even though his grandfather has been dead for some time, the game begins with Eggman suddenly deciding he's interested in Gerald's research. What prompted this? Nothing? The Master Emerald keeps changing sizes. One moment it's huge, another moment Knuckles could store it in his invisible fur pocket. Which is a sentence I really regret saying. How is Eggman able to build a magic portal from his pyramid base to the Space Colony Ark when he's never been there before? Where does Amy get the key card to unlock Sonic's jail cell? Why does Rouge have an orgasm when the emerald is shattered? Why is Gun fighting Rouge when she works for them? Why is there a NASA shuttle hidden inside an Egyptian pyramid? When did Tails get in the president's limo? How did Sonic know how to pilot a NASA space rocket? How does Tails know how to make a fake Chaos Emerald? Can he just make 6 more fake emeralds and make himself a god? When Rouge falls, does she forget that she's a fucking bat and can fly? How does Shadow suddenly get a change of heart when none of the factors informing his desire for revenge changed? Why is Sonic just waiting here for Shadow to find him? How does Gerald get a video of his own execution and insert it into the Space Colony's computer? Why does Gerald have a digital diary in the 50s or 60s, but when Rouge wants to show Eggman news about Tails having the last emerald, she has to print it out on paper? Why wouldn't Gun dismantle the Space Colony Ark after Gerald just admitted to booby-trapping it into a world-ending weapon? Why is the prototype for the ultimate life form a giant lizard? How do you go from lizard to hedgehog? How come the Master Emerald did literally nothing? If the Bio-Lizard could just move the Space Colony on its own, then all these emeralds are pointless. How come Sonic magically survived and Shadow didn't? Is there now just a big dead lizard orbiting the Earth with a space colony up its ass? Would you be able to see it on a moonless night? This list could certainly go on longer, but I'll leave it to my viewers to add extras in the comments.
Thanks for watching this video from West Does Games. You're all awesome for sticking around. A special shout out to the patrons: Disco St. John, Pringle the One, Yusef Neeves, Endings Analyzed, NB Prod, Zen, Here's Curse, Zerbaxi, go check out his channel by the way, Bolsek, and Jilly Mays. You're all the best. And by the way, I totally could have saved Shadow from falling to Earth. I had enough juice left in my super form. I just wanted to see him die. It was funny. I don't even like Amy, but I like competition even less. Sayonara, Shadow!
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle had a profound impact on the world in a lot of ways. It brought the Blue Hedgehog over to Nintendo and kept him alive during a troubling period for Sega. It led to the best video game movie adaptation of all time, easily, and it was the game that introduced the world to the fan-favorite character, Omochao. But it also had a profound impact on my life. I never really got that much into the 2D games, and to this day, I still believe Sonic works much better in 3D. For all the janky controls, which still aren't perfect, I'd still much rather be able to see what's in front of me, you know? And I think these early 3D games, especially, had so much charm because they were experimenting with things they clearly hadn't mastered yet, like motion capture or voice acting.
We all did it together!
Shut up, Tails. And while I think it would be a few years before we got another objectively good Sonic game, there's no denying this era of Sonic games were as stupid as they were fun. And Sonic Adventure 2 truly was the stupidest and funnest Sonic game of them all. Thanks to everyone that watched this thing. If you want to see me cover more Sonic the Hedgehog content, I'm currently working my way through all the early 3D games, aka Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, and Adventure 1. If you want me to prioritize any one game, then let me know in the comments. Make sure to check out Metro Japan for some cool stuff. Please consider being a patron to help me out, patreon.com/westdoesgames, and have a great day.